quickly share my screen here with the PowerPoint. Welcome. A quick introduction about myself. My name is Jay. I have a very long, Indian name, which Dr. Watson was trying to pronounce. I love it. Sorry about that. I'm from a very small village here. My parents are from village. We all are from village here. So I work as a freelance. I used to work as a freelance developer, but lately, as I grow older, I do have a certain flair for teaching. So I've been doing a lot of freelance tutoring lately. But yes, for the last 10 years, I have been a developer, building everything from web apps to websites to backend services and all kind of stuff. Today, I would like to talk to you about Bootstrap 5. Now, I have my second monitor. That's what I'm sharing right now. So if I'm looking here, just know that I'm just looking at my monitor, not ignoring you guys, right? As Doctor said, there are many, many different technologies that you can use to build websites and so on and so forth. Now, anything you can think of today, any sort of website. So let me bring my browser here on the screen. Let me go ahead. Doctor, do you want me to admit the students waiting, or would you do that? Let me know if you want me to look into that. Okay, all right. So any kind of thing. Thank you, Doctor. Yes. So any sort of anything in the world, anything on the internet. Like for instance, I have this website called unsplash.com. It is a website where you can upload photos. In fact, I am something of a photographer myself. So if I go here, you can see that's my face. That's my name shortened a little bit. So these are all photos that I have taken. So this is like a photo sharing website where I'm able to look at the photos I've taken over the years as a hobby photographer, and I can look at them. I can share with them. For example, I can take this link here. I can share it with the class, so all of you can open it. Okay, so why I'm showing this, let me show you one more website. I have my own personal website. For example, this one is my own personal website. That is, again, something that I use for marketing myself as a freelance tutor and so on and so forth. I'll share that link as well on the chat box there. So what I'm trying to say here is, especially if you're just starting out in the industry, okay, web site development, yes, today it is very easy to go ahead and build websites. You have technologies such as WordPress. Some of you may have heard about it. Some of you may have already be using it and so on. For instance, this website is actually running on WordPress, whereas this is a separate website from some other company and so on. Now, because the amount of websites are being built these days, everybody, even small, like right now, I'm just a single tutor. Even I have multiple websites that belong to me. So everybody needs a website, which is why there are so many technologies. And one of those technologies is Bootstrap. So I wouldn't say that this is like the best framework to build websites, but it is one of the most widely used frameworks for building websites, and that is Bootstrap. Now, what is Bootstrap then? How does it help you as a developer? And if you're a student, how would you go about learning it, and where would you start, and so on and so forth? Now, the first thing is, some of you may have attended my previous sessions where I've spoken about the basics of web development. I've spoken about HTML. I have spoken a little bit about CSS, and I have spoken a little bit about JavaScript. So ideally, if you are trying to become a web developer, then you would first, maybe perhaps watch my previous video where I go through some of the basics of programming. So let's say that you already took my advice or planning to take my advice about those three things, and you have learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that will be step number one. And after that, once you have learned the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then the next step would be Bootstrap. So that is where Bootstrap sits in the hierarchy of things. So you start with the basics, HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript, spend some time learning them. And before I go into the whole Bootstrap thing, if some of you are wondering, okay, Jay, that sounds good. So what if I really want to get deep into the basics? Then I'm going to share a couple of links in the chat. The first one is this website called as Free Code Camp. Okay, so they do have a course exactly for JavaScript and HTML and CSS. So I'm going to go ahead and share that link right now in the chat. So I hope everybody is able to get that link. So if you're just thinking, okay, Jay is showing about Bootstrap, it makes a lot of sense, and you want to start your journey towards it, then first step would be JavaScript, the link I shared you. It's an online sort of learning facility. It's free and everything. So, and after that, you would probably learn, not probably, you would learn this also. So I've shared two links for you. One of them is about the web design certification, HTML and CSS. They use the word web design, and there is a word called responsive here. I'm going to come to that right now. So web design is HTML and CSS. You'll see here, it's mentioned here as well. And along with that, please understand that simply knowing design is not going to help you. So you will need to spend a lot of time learning JavaScript as well. Okay, so I would strongly recommend you check my previous video where I go a little bit more deeper into it. And of course, I've shared you the links which can help you start your journey towards learning those two essential skills. Now, once you have done that, suppose, let's say you already spent some time with these two things, and then you are like, okay, what is the next step, Jay? And that next step is Bootstrap. So what does Bootstrap do? And what is its relationship with HTML and CSS? Let's go ahead, and I have some demo websites here. So what I will do is, let me go ahead and get that on the screen for you right now. So let me get a very, very simple website, okay, just to give you an idea of what Bootstrap can do for you. So there it is. Let me go to get my Firefox. There we go. Just handling multiple monitors here, guys. Just give me a second. Please don't think I'm tardy. Just too many windows here. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, there you go. It's loaded. All right, guys, everything is online, so it takes a few seconds to load. And there it is. Okay. Now look at this one on the screen right now. So it all looks a little bit colorish. Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm just trying to impress upon you to see what basic HTML and CSS can do for you. Now, what is happening here is, for example, you have some text in the top, you have an image of Batman in the center, and then you have some links here on the left side, you have some paragraphs here, and you have some Batman images and so on. To make this look half decent, that is what this is. You can see here a little bit of code I had to write. I'll put this link in the chat if you want to go ahead and try to open that on your machine. You can see here, just to make this kind of a output, just to get this kind of output, I had to write a whole lot of code. In fact, I had to write something like 160 lines of code just to get this much simple amount of styling and arrangement of images and content. So this is pure HTML and CSS. So it is a lot of effort to use CSS plus HTML, even to make simple, pleasing kind of appearance with websites. So it takes a lot of effort. So just to do this, I had to write almost 160 lines of code. So you can imagine, when you try to write a very big project or very big website, you may have to write 500,000 lines, maybe even more than that, just to get the kind of responsiveness and styling that you're looking for. Now, the thing is, of course, we don't have that kind of time anymore. I mean, perhaps 20 years ago, 30 years ago, so not 30 years ago, there were no computers, sorry, 20 years ago, when I was in college, right? I'm 40 now, so I was in college 20 years ago. So then we had that kind of time because we didn't have any solutions and so on and so forth. Now, let me go ahead and get another link for you. All right. So I'm going to go to my second monitor here, and I'm going to grab another link. So hold on, let me get the next link for you. Okay, here we go. Yeah, let me just bring it on the screen here. So what you see on the screen right now is actually my GitHub account. And another topic that you have to learn when you become a developer is you need to learn GitHub. If you guys want to check it out, I'm going to put this link in the chat as well. Okay, there we go. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you what Bootstrap can do for us. And here I have there we go, perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and there it is. Okay, please excuse the attractive woman on the code. Just an example I was using. Okay, so now what is happening here is you will notice that I have a simple button here. I'm going to click on it. And the moment I click on it, you can see that I'm now loading a picture of a space photo from the NASA website. And you can see here that this is what is called as responsive. For instance, I go ahead and reduce the size of this screen. You can see how, as I make this window smaller, the content of the website, it adjusts itself. I think you can see it, right? It's happening very slowly. I hope Zoom is able to capture that. So as I change things, the content is automatically adjusting and the image is getting bigger and smaller. So this is what really happens. Like when you have a website, you open it on a computer, it looks all big and arranges itself properly. And when you open the same thing on iPad, it becomes a little bit smaller and on the iPhone, it adjusts itself to show things. So this is what is called as responsiveness. And in order to make websites responsive, you will have to write a lot of CSS code. Okay, now when you look at this specific project, I'm going to go ahead and open the code. All right, and you can see here that I don't have any CSS at all. No CSS, zero CSS. Now let's open that Batman example I was showing you from before. So I'm going to keep this here on the right side. Let me put this in this page here. Okay. And let me drag this and put it on the other monitor. So let's go ahead and put it side by side and look at it. So you'll notice now I have the Batman here. So this has some amount of responsiveness. So if I make this a little bit bigger, it also tries to adjust, as the window gets bigger and the window gets smaller. But you'll see that it's not exactly perfect. It doesn't look that nice. And also you can see here some images are not coming properly. To see them, I have to move the cursor. I have to move it so I can see everything. So that is the opposite of responsiveness. And here, what I've done is I have gone ahead and I've written so much code. You can see here that I've written like almost like 100 or 150 CSS lines. And after doing all that, I'm still getting like a basic layout. And we don't have to, what do you say? I have to work so much hard to make it better. So I could spend half a day or an entire day. And even then, it may not look that great because I'm writing all the CSS myself. But let's go back to our NASA project. Now, if you look at the NASA project here, you can see here, this is the output. Okay, and if I try to change the size of something, see how nicely it looks. I don't have to scroll up. I don't have to scroll sideways to see everything. I don't have to worry about adjusting things. It automatically adjusts itself. And the best part is, you can see in the CSS file, it is empty. I didn't have to write a single line of CSS. So that is like 2 hours, 3 hours. I saved and I'm still getting a very good looking output and responsiveness. So that is the main reason why we use Bootstrap. So you can think of Bootstrap as a library. You can think of it as a shortcut. Okay, an example I like to use is, like cooking. Let's suppose that you would like to have some pizza or something like that. Now, obviously, if you want pizza, there are two ways you can do it. You can go ahead and make the pizza yourself, but that means you have to prepare the ingredients. You need to have the oven. You need to have all the baking stuff. I mean, obviously, I don't know how to make pizza. I'm just using an example. But yes, it'll take a whole day. And even after doing all that, the pizza may not be that good. And it may take you many, many months of practice and effort. And of course, a lot of food will be wasted and things like that. And even after all that, yeah, thank you, Isaac. Thank you. Even after all that, you may not actually get the pizza that you are like, okay, I want to eat it again. I mean, you might eat it because you made it, right? I mean, you made it, so you have to eat it. You have to say that it's nice and all that. But in reality, it will not match the pizza from a local pizza store or something like that. So Bootstrap, it is kind of like the pizza shop. Like you feel like eating pizza, you go ahead, give them a call, or you have a mobile app, you use the app, and then you just go ahead and just order it. And in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, the pizza will be delivered to you, and you can just enjoy, and for sure that it's going to be good. So according to me, Bootstrap is like a ready-made, responsive design library. And it's a very, very old library, guys. Let me just show you here. If you go to GitHub, again, you have to learn GitHub. Okay, I'm going to say it again and again and again. You have to learn GitHub in the developer world. At the end of the class, I'll be sharing a lot of links. Okay, some of them are my tutorials, some of them are my YouTube links and things like that. So I hope you will check it out and you can learn GitHub and a lot of these things. I made a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. So I'll be sharing those links at the end of the call before I log off. But yeah, so if I go to GitHub here, okay, GitHub is where we developers, that is like Facebook for developers. So if I go here and I search for GitHub, okay, there you go. And you can see here that, there it is. This guy has you can see here, it has 162,000 stars, which is a huge deal in the world of developer. It's a very, very famous library. Everybody uses it. Now, why is that so important? So suppose you learn HTML, CSS, I've shared you the links. I'll share it again at the end of the class. Suppose you also learn the JavaScript. I've shared you the link. And again, I'll be sharing a lot of YouTube links as well. And then you actually take my advice and you start learning Bootstrap. And because it is used by everybody, Bootstrap is used everywhere, everybody, all over the world. And it's not like it's dying out or something. As more and more people use the internet, I'm talking mobile apps, web apps, smart TV apps, everywhere, libraries like Bootstrap. And even if you go and learn some other library, because this is like the oldest library, all the other libraries will have some common connection to this library. It's like, when I was in school or something, our physical education teacher, the PT sir, we call him PT sir, he would tell us that it doesn't matter what sports you go into. If you're good at running, you can get into any sport, which makes sense. If you're going to play cricket, again, you have to run a lot. It's football, you have to run a lot. It's jumping, you have to run a lot. Hockey, you have to run a lot. Every sport needs you to run a lot. So if you're good in running, then obviously you can get into any kind of sport. So similarly, those of you who are trying to be a front-end developer, see, that is the word. I want to emphasize that word again. Now, please understand that. Let me type it on the PowerPoint so you guys can, make a note of the spelling or something. So especially if you're trying to become, let me make it really big. Okay, so I'm going to zoom it in. as much as I can. Yeah, 96 is the max. So there you go. So if anyone in the audience is thinking of building a career in website development, then the official title is front-end developer. Okay, that is the person who builds websites. Okay, that is the person who builds web apps. That is the person who builds how the mobile app looks and everything. So if you can spend some time learning the foundation of Bootstrap, then you can actually build some really, really cool websites. It's very easy to build your resume as a front-end developer in Bootstrap, because it is very, very old. So everybody knows it. If you go to YouTube or things like that, there are so many videos, free courses, free workshops on GitHub and Twitter and all those places. You'll get so many places where you can learn Bootstrap completely for free. So that is why I tell folks, like if you are trying to find an easy way to a career in software development, I would strongly recommend. First step, yeah, you have to learn HTML, CSS. You cannot bypass that. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I sent you the links. I sent it again. And then please spend some time on Bootstrap and become a front-end developer. Now, right there. So let's go to the next most important thing in Bootstrap. Okay, what does Bootstrap contain? Now, for example, I showed you this NASA project. Okay, and I also showed you that this NASA project, I haven't written a single line of CSS, but all this styling, everything, somebody has to do it, and somebody has to do the work, right? Like when you order pizza from a restaurant, somebody has to make the pizza. It's not magic. They have a kitchen, they have a chef, they have these guys who know what to put where and things like that. So who is doing all the heavy lifting? Where does all this effort come from? Where is the pizza kitchen in the pizza shop? That is Bootstrap components. So let's go to the Bootstrap website here. So I'm going to go ahead and load it up here, right? And right now we are in version 5.0. I just want to point that out. That is the title of the workshop. We are saying it is Bootstrap Workshop 5.0 because that is the most recent version of Bootstrap. So usually they release a new version once in 2 to 3 years. So this is Bootstrap version 5. So you can imagine it's been going on for 10 to 15 years. So it's used everywhere. So if you're able to learn Bootstrap, it will at least help you, with your first job as a front-end developer. Because of course, only Bootstrap alone is not enough. These days, just knowing the basics is not enough, but it is good to get you started. I wouldn't say that you can just stay with Bootstrap all the time. No, not really. No. It is like basic math, but it is your gateway, to the first level of front-end development. And from there, depending on your experience, you can go on to some complex frameworks and do some advanced things and so on. So what is the magic of Bootstrap? What really makes Bootstrap tick? And for that, let me put this link in the chat so you can open it. Thank you, Agama. Thank you. So if I go to the docs section, okay, there's a lot of stuff here on how to use it and all. I'm not going to get into that today. I'll show you some code, but not too much, because I don't think you can jump into this in a 60-minute session. I'll just show you some main things though. Now, there it is. So if you scroll down a little bit, I'm going to put this link in this also. There we go. So this is the real magic of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap has these things called components. All right. So components are like ready to use. I'm going to use cooking example again. So are like ready to use meals. Okay, like for example, I'm speaking to you from India, Bangalore, and I live by myself. I live by myself in my apartment. I know how to cook, but I can't always cook. So what I do is whenever I'm running out of time, but I don't want to order the food from the restaurant as well. So what I do is I order these ready to eat parathas. Paratha is like a bread in India. Okay. So what I do is I get these ready to eat parathas from the grocery shop. We have this online app and everything, and we can order stuff, right? Everybody can order stuff these days. So the parathas, I can just keep it in the refrigerator, and whenever I feel like I don't have the time to make the parathas myself, I can simply take it out of the refrigerator and I can cook it on a tawa. We call tawa in India. That's the plate on which you make things, the bread stuff, right? So I put it on the tawa, and I have nice, almost mom style. I mean, of course, I don't think any paratha can be as good as mom's parathas. That's not going to happen, but close to what my mom can make, right? So I get the parathas and I can eat it. So thereby, I'm saving myself a whole lot of time. So same thing with this, my dear students. So what Bootstrap does is it gives you so many components and so many ready to use form components, content components, layout options, and all these things. It's a very, very long list. I mean, this is a very old software. So depending on what you're trying to do, you could simply go ahead and take that and put it in your project, right? So let me do something quickly just to show you guys how it works. Let me take something simple because I don't want to take something complex, and then if it doesn't work, then I'll look like an idiot. So I don't want that. So let me take something extremely simple. Hold on. Let me take a simple component. You know what? I think I'm gonna take carousel. Okay, carousel. Okay, so I'm gonna just show you guys quickly how easy it is to use Bootstrap components. So hopefully you'll also find it equally easy when you try to experiment with it, right? So let's go to carousel. So this is the component I'm trying to use. A carousel is nothing but you can slide things from here to there. Okay, so that's what a carousel does. Now I want to use it in my project. So I'll go to my NASA project. Okay, so this is my NASA project. And where is the output? So I have the output here. So you can see right now, this link I'm going to share with you guys, so you know I'm not cheating. So I'm going to send this link to the chat. Okay, so you can open it. You'll see that it doesn't have any carousel. Now here I go. What I want to do is I don't want that the actress lady. I'm going to get rid of her for now. So I'm just going to get rid of her. She's gone. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't want to touch this original. I'm going to make a copy of this. Hold on. Let me send you another copy. Yeah, there we go. So let me send this in the chat. Okay, I'm going to put the title as AIU Bootstrap Component Carousel Demo. Okay, just for today. And then what I'll do is, first step, I'm going to get rid of the image of the lady. We'll put something else. So there we go. Now she is gone. And if I check the output, you can see that it's not there anymore. And then if I just click on this, done. So there you go, that is not there anymore. So it's gone. So what do I want to do is I want to put a simple carousel here. So I'll go ahead, I'll go to the Bootstrap website, and this is the code. So I'm going to copy this and I'll come to my code, and I have this one here. Hold on, I need to find the exact spot where I want to put it. Yeah, there we go. And here I'm going to save it. So all I did was copy the carousel component from the Bootstrap website and put it in my code. That is all I did. I didn't do any CSS or any extra effort. So if I check the output, let's see, if I check the output, you'll see that, hold on, let me see. So what, okay. Hold on, I hope I'm not making a mistake here. I have the div, and what I want here is, let's see. Okay, all right. So I have the, hold on, too many windows. Hold on, folks, hold on, too many windows. There it is, okay. So now, so I have the carousel. It's not visible yet because I haven't put any images. So what I'll do is I'll go to my photography website, from before. So let me get that here. Okay, so let me take some images. I'm going to take this flower. I'm going to download it. Okay, one image, I got it. Okay, let's see. Right, there we go. Second thing, let me open this image here. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see if I can try this one. Okay, that image seems to be working. So I go back here, I put this one, save, and then let me check. Okay, all right, we are good to go. Nice. Let me take one more image. So I'm going to go back to my Unsplash. This is a photo I took in my hometown. Okay, this one again. So let me get the image. So there we go. All right, okay, hold on. So there it is. Okay, second image. Okay, I need one more image because the carousel usually has at least 3 images. So once again, I'm going to go to my account. I think I have, let me see, I have a card here. This is from a museum in my city, in my hometown. We have a train museum, but for some reason they put a card there. I don't know why, but it's there. So it's going to take that. Yes, I still don't know why they have a card in a train museum. That's a little bit strange for me. Okay, still loading, just waiting for it. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. So let's take this and let's go ahead and put this. Okay, so I have 3 images from my photography collection and I go to the output and it's loading. Okay, let me make this a little bit smaller. And there it is. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Okay. All right, and you can see, it's working. A very, very simple slideshow. All I had to do was use a Bootstrap component. I didn't have to write any CSS. I didn't have to, again, I'm going to show it again. See the CSS part here, the center part is totally empty. So this is the plus point. This is the big, big reason why I tell folks, especially when you're trying to become a front-end developer, there are some students who are like, okay, you know what, I'm going to spend more time with HTML and CSS. Nothing wrong with it. Eventually you will become an expert in HTML and CSS as time passes on. However, in the beginning, like just to give yourself a little bit of boost until you're ready to learn more, like just land your first job or first freelancing contract or something, get started with Bootstrap. It helps you build a lot of things about websites. It helps you get there faster. And it is not cheating because I already showed you, it is extremely popular. Everybody uses in the industry. So when everybody uses the industry, then it's not cheating because it helps things move a little faster. So that is the main thing about Bootstrap. That is what I mean by saying in this PowerPoint slide, I put it there, Bootstrap components are ready to use classes. In CSS, we have this thing called classes. These are ready-made classes that are available for you to take it and use it and get the desired result. So that's about the Bootstrap components. And I want to talk to you guys about a little bit about the ecosystem. Looks like, yeah, there we go. But before I talk about ecosystem, I'm just going to check if there are any questions either from Dr. Valsen or anybody else. Let me see if there are any questions here. Hold on. Okay. Okay, all right, no questions as of now. Okay, no problem. Okay, all right, there we go.
Let me try to interject something very quickly, Jay.
Right.
I personally, like I've been pointing out, I'm used to website design, but I do remember the very first moments when I started getting into this. It was very, very intimidating. We're talking about HTML, CSS. When it comes to coding, that can be really intimidating. So my question to you is, for somebody who is new, what is a technique that can be used to avoid being intimidated? Because if you are not going to venture any further in that process of website design. So how can we avoid that type of fears?
Right. Dr. Walson, so that is right, sir. So I am kind of torn between being honest and not scaring away everybody in the room here. So I'm going to try to be a little diplomatic on that. So one thing, Dr. Walson, is what has happened is in the in the last 10 years, I've been doing this. Two things have happened, sir. One is things have exploded. Okay, so if I have to draw something, like if something was like this 10 years ago, then now it has really exponentially increased, so big that here at least I can see the whole circle. But now in 2023, it is so big that I can only see or draw only a part of the circle, Dr. Walson. So that is how massive the explosion of technology has happened. So at least in the olden days, when I was in college and applied for jobs, I could literally tell my recruiter that, hey, I know everything. And that was not a lie. I knew everything because everything was so less and small. And so there you go. So yes, sir, I cannot hide the fact that things have exponentially become much more bigger, and hence, because of the size itself, it is intimidating. So that is absolutely correct, and there is no running away from it. But at the same time, Dr. Walson, let's look at the bright side. That's the scary part. Everything is too big. So if that concerns students, then the answer is yes, it should concern you. But at the same time, sir, when you think about it, in 20 years, now look at what's happening. When we were trying to learn things, we had to use paper-based books. And because everything was new, our teachers did not know what to teach. Like literally, I was better than my teacher. I hope my teacher is not watching this recording or something. I have a lot of respect for them. But obviously I realized in a very young age that they had no idea what they were doing. So I mean, sorry, that's the truth. So I went to the library, I grabbed all the books, I learned everything on my own, with all due respect. But Dr. Watson, look at today, like right now, I am not trying to brag or something. I do have an award from Microsoft. I've been working for 10 years. I make a lot of money. I live a comfortable life while I was born poor. And here I am talking to people on the internet for free, right? I mean, anybody can just join and learn, and you have my GitHub, you have my YouTube channel, you have my Discord, and that is just me, okay? And I already shared some links, and if you check those links, you can actually become a developer if you're dedicated, if you're hardworking. I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. You really don't have to rely on somebody or even attend a university or a college or something. If you're really dedicated, everything you need to become a developer is already there, Professor.
All right.
So that's.
Thank you very much, Jay. I know you have a lot more to cover, and we're gonna try our best not to interrupt, especially when we will soon run out of time. So we will read the questions and let the participants ask questions at the end. However, I don't want Mojisola Esther to keep suffering. She's been raising her hand for a little while. And go ahead, Esther, ask the question real quick before we allow Jay to continue with his presentation. Go ahead, Esther, ask your question, please.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you, Jay. Jay, please, if you don't mind to jot down my questions. There are just 5 simple questions, please. Thank you. Okay, so my number 1 question is how to develop a blog.
Okay.
Number 2 is how to secure my blog and my website.
Okay.
Number 3 is, please oblige me to have your contact, please.
Great. I always share that. I'll share it today too. No problem. Yeah.
Number 4 is, what is CSS? What is HTML? And what is the difference between the two?
Okay, okay, no problem.
And when you are developing a website, which do you use? Is it HTML or CSS?
Okay, okay, all right.
And my last question is, of all the software, of all the website softwares that exist, which is the best, especially the one that has the highest security? Thank you very much.
Okay, okay, okay. So, Esther, so all of your questions, you know, I can kind of answer them as a flow because they are all kind of related. So HTML and CSS, they are both not different things, but rather they are two different technologies which work together to build a website. So that is the first answer. So you're not looking for differences. It's more like your hand and your leg, you know, they're not different. They're part of the same body. So that's the HTML and CSS. So next, securing a blog and website, Esther. So that is something that we no longer do it ourselves per se. You know, they're like, because now it is so hard to secure something. A lot of times what we do is we kind of allow third-party libraries and things like that to secure something. So for example, let's say you are there and there is someone else in the audience who want to build a blog and make sure that blog remains safe, then the most secure way to actually start a blog is to simply get a blog from an established brand. Okay, for example, I can show you on the screen right now. I have many blogs. For example, you asked me for my contact details and everything. You know, this is my website. That's my personal website, Esther. So go ahead. That's my website. I put the link in the chat. So that has all my details. Okay. So for example, this is a secure site. You can see it in the top. It says connection is secure. It has all the certificates, very secure. I don't have to worry about it because I simply pay some money to this company called WordPress.com and they take care of everything. So, you know, that's what everybody does these days, because as a person, you cannot secure your site anymore. It's gone. So another blog I have another blog. I'm going to just open that for you. So I have a blog. I have many blogs actually, Esther. I write a lot. You know, I guess as you grow older, you write more, I guess, you know. So I have all these blogs here. So I'm going to send this one of the blogs to you. So go ahead. And that also contains my contact info. So this is a blog and it's running on a website called Medium. So I'll put that link right there in the chat. So if you want a blog, it's cheaper, both from a technology perspective and a security perspective, to get blog from a company like Medium and WordPress. They don't charge any money anyway, unless you want some extra features. So that is my recommendation about those things. So security, that shouldn't be your responsibility. But yes, so it's better if you're focused on a blog and a website, just get it from somebody who's already running it. And you can always pay some extra money if you're more serious about it. And they will give you extra features like payment and subscribers and podcasts and things like that. So that is my answer to you for all those questions. And all my links, they have my contact details. So any of those links, my blog, my website, just Google my name. You know, that's it, easy. Just Google my name. It's there on the slide. It is there on the title everywhere. You'll find out who I am and where I'm at and all that. So that's about the contact things. Lastly, which technology to use? So that's the thing is, look, today you have hundreds of choices. So we can't say which is best or not best, but I can say for a beginner, I see that Alain has mentioned it. So I would either recommend Bootstrap or I would recommend WordPress. Okay. Now, if you're a non-technical person, like you don't want to get your hands dirty or you simply don't have the money for it, then WordPress is a good option because you can simply log into the website, create an account, like you create your Facebook account or something, and start building a website. You just need patience and that's it. Or you can just watch a 1 or 2 hour video on YouTube about WordPress, and they'll teach you how to do it. So that's the easiest way, which also makes it the best way. But if you want to get your hands dirty, you know, you spend some time learning HTML, CSS that I talked about in the previous session, and Bootstrap that I'm talking right now. So that is like your second step, Esther. So if you want to build something yourself, But I still would not recommend that to a non-developer, because just because you can build something doesn't mean it will run on the internet nicely. Okay, so maybe I'll speak about it in a future session, but there is something called as deployment. Okay, so I don't have anything to share on that because I haven't spent too much time on it, but there is something called deployment. I do have a, hold on, let me just talk about, yeah, there it is, GitHub Action. So I'm going to put that link if you guys want to maybe investigate. So there is this thing called GitHub Actions. You need to learn a lot just to deploy a simple website. You talked about security and everything. So please understand that doing things yourself is no longer an option. As Dr. Walson said, it is intimidating. It has become extremely intimidating. But at the same time, if you just want to blog, then there are free services. So things have become easy on one end, and at the same time, they have become very costly and difficult on the other end. So it's a balance, it's a balancing strike with technology. You can't have something nice without having something difficult. I can give a non-technical example. For whatever reason, I try to grow my hair to look a little bit older, but managing it is becoming a challenge. How difficult it is to maintain it. I had no idea. I have a newfound respect for women because I don't know how they do it. I mean, how do they manage that? It's such a high maintenance activity. So anyway, so that's one example I can give you, Esther. So there you go, guys. So returning, I hope that answers your questions, Esther. So coming back, my guys, thank you, Esther. So what I was to say here is, one thing I want folks to understand is if you're really going deep into the Bootstrap ecosystem, perhaps you watched this video and you saw all the links and you're like, okay, this looks interesting. You see an employment opportunity there, you see a job opportunity there, and you want to jump into the world of Bootstrap, then one thing you can be certain about, yes, the journey is a long one. It will take a lot of effort these days to become good in anything, especially software development, even a basic level developer. Okay, there is no escaping that. But as I mentioned to Dr. Watson earlier, there are more ways to learn these days. For example, sometimes my students ask me, Jay, how long does it take for someone who has never coded to learn how to build a simple Bootstrap website? So I always give them an estimate of anywhere from 50 hours to 200 hours of dedicated learning. Okay, so that is the estimate, my dear students, even to just learn how to build a basic site. And out of that 250 to 200 hours, 80% of time will be spent just learning JavaScript, because that is like the brain of a website. Plus 20 to 30% of time for HTML, CSS. And of course, once you learn HTML, CSS, Bootstrap becomes very easy. But once you get there, though, I can guarantee that the Bootstrap ecosystem is so big. To give you a non-technical example, suppose you are very good at driving a car, then because everybody needs a Uber or a taxi, no matter where you go in the world, your car driving skills will always have some kind of demand, irrespective of which country you are in. So similarly, if you can, but of course, to learn a car properly, there's a lot of effort that you need to put in the first place. I'm not saying, like you have to become like a super expert, like you should be a Formula 1 driver or something, but just good enough to drive a taxi. So similarly, the Bootstrap situation, if you can reach a point where you become a Bootstrap developer, there is a lot of requirement for website builders in the first place. And of course, do not forget, that link I shared with you about deployment. You will have to learn that too. And that is a bit of a roadblock and a challenge. But then again, everything in life is always filled with roadblocks and challenges, and you can't escape it. At some point, you have to pay the piper his due. You can't bypass it. You can't postpone it. So the payment here is your time and patience. So this is what, but yes, once you get in there, imagine that this whole Bootstrap technology is like a walled garden. So getting into this garden will take a lot of effort and time and patience and all that. But once you get in, the grass here is extremely green. So you can enjoy the fruits of your labor for as long as you're in the industry. So the Bootstrap ecosystem is pretty good. It's very, very good. And don't forget, once you start becoming good with Bootstrap, you can upgrade yourself and learn other frameworks. All right. Now, what are the other frameworks? Now, the other frameworks is you could go deeper into CSS, right? Because right now you're using Bootstrap as a shortcut to avoid or use the CSS to a lesser extent. So you could try to go deeper into CSS. And there are a lot of other libraries which are better than Bootstrap. For example, we have a library called Tailwind, which is picking up a lot of traction in the industry for the last few years. Okay, so yes, Dr. Watson, sorry, yes. So that is about the ecosystem, right? Now, one last thing I want to talk about before I start answering questions is Bootstrap themes. Okay, now what are Bootstrap themes? Okay, so what happens is, so I mean, I don't know if this is something which makes sense to you guys over there. I don't know how it works, but in India, when we were children, we had to go, like when there's a festival or a birthday coming up. I mean, yeah, we were very poor, so we could only get new clothes once in 2 years. So it was a big deal for our family. But what they would do is we used to have these tailors. So my parents would somehow save money once in 2 years, and then they would take me to the tailor shop where, they would make me stand, the tailor would take measurements and all that, and then he will stitch the clothes, and then I'll get the clothes after a month or so. So Bootstrap, when you're building a website, although it helps you code faster, you still have to sit and do a lot of work, just like the tailor has to take the measurements and things like that. The tailor has a machine which helps him sew the clothes, but he still has to do a lot of cutting and other things. Now in Bootstrap, what happens is you can try to build everything yourself, but what you can actually do is you can happily just go online and you can literally just use these things called Bootstrap themes. Now, Bootstrap themes are ready-made websites, okay? So Bootstrap themes, like whatever you're trying to build, maybe you're trying to build a business website, like for example, this one, let's say you're trying to build a business website that looks like this, right? Look, it looks nice, right? It looks okay, it looks cool. So if this is something you want to build, maybe it will take you about 50 to 100 hours to build this by yourself, even with Bootstrap in the play, but you don't have to build everything yourself. You could simply go to this website and you can just buy it for $50 and that's it. All you have to do is talk to your client, find out which theme they like, and then sit with the client and just make general customization. So there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of Bootstrap themes available on the internet. So when you become a Bootstrap developer, 99% of the time, when you meet a client, you're really just purchasing Bootstrap themes and sitting with the client and helping them out arrange things. So that's another reason why I like Bootstrap, because once you know the basics of Bootstrap, you don't need to be like an expert to build cool websites. You just need to become an expert in finding the right themes and knowing how to manipulate them. Okay, so that's the last thing I want to say. Code demonstration, I already showed you some code, so I just put the slide there. So guys, there you go. So questions, anything you want to talk, go ahead. We have time. We definitely have time. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Thank you very, very much, Jay.
And Dr. Watson, I don't mind if the session goes a few minutes about. Don't worry about it. I'm totally
okay. Cool. All right. We highly appreciate that, Jay.
Yeah.
As you all, dear participants, could understand, this was a truly feature-packed session with all kind of details about a very a complex field. We're talking about website design. As I was saying, it can be very, very intimidating, threatening to a certain extent to get into CSS or HTML languages, because those are the standards used in website design. But Jay has clearly explained you do not have to possess that type of knowledge to be successful in website design going through Bootstrap, particularly if you use what he called the Bootstrap themes. The Bootstrap themes are very specifically pre-built websites or templates which you can fully customize to your taste, interest, and style to make everything look like yours. Like Jay precise, with $50, you buy one of those templates and you go to
Dr. Watson, sorry to interrupt you, sir. There are also like hundreds of free themes. So
okay, that's very important. But let me stop talking and going to the questions which you allowed, Jay. Thank you again very much for that.
Yeah, and guys, don't worry if it goes a few minutes up. Don't worry. I'm not gonna send a big bill to AIU. Not problem.
Thank you very much. We appreciate.
Guys, while I'm talking, while you are talking, I'm sending you a lot of links, which I promised I'll send. It will contain my videos, my links, and things like that. Go ahead, please talk, and I'm gonna take all the links from the chat. Yeah,
that is awesome. Very impressive. Going first to Ivy Susole Gamma. Go ahead, Ivy. We're ready for your question.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Hi, Gamma. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I want to know, how do I create a website and also get people to know it?
I didn't get the last part, Agama. I'm sorry. I didn't get the last part.
What the last part was is just after you build a website, then how do you populate it? How do you let people know you have that website so that they can join you and visit that site?
Right then.
Okay, we lost Ivy again. But
right. I think I got it, Dr. Watson. So, folks, the first thing is, yes, the first part about building the website. We have two options. I'm going to put this link here. If you don't want to invest the time it needs to learn the coding thing, then you can see on the screen as well. I'm putting those links too. First, try to build your first website using WordPress. Because one, you don't need to know about coding, okay? You simply need to have the patience to figure out how the website works. And the second thing, the second part with Agma was asking, how do you make it available online? How do you let people know, like maybe on WhatsApp or chat, how do you share it? And what happens is with websites like WordPress, now there are a lot of other options, but WordPress is literally like 40% of the internet. So it's pretty big. So you can simply build your website on WordPress. And then when you build something, I have my own website. I'm going to open it here and I'll share the link also. This is my own website. Oh, hold on. Yeah, so this is my website. This is also running on WordPress. So just like how I have a link, which I'm sharing with you guys, when you build a website, Agma, you will automatically be assigned a link. It could be a website, it could be a blog. And later, I'm going to mention this as well, since you asked, if your website is coming along really nicely, then you can actually purchase like an address. Okay, like for example, I have purchased an address called, J Stories or something, which you can see on the link. So you can go to GoDaddy and you can search for it. Like for example, Agma, let's say you want a website called Susole Agma. And so there you go. Let's say you want a website like that. You go to the website, godaddy.com. There you go. It is available. So you could actually purchase it from GoDaddy. And if you don't know how to do these things, you can probably find some freelancer online and they can help you plug this name that you purchased with your WordPress on WordPress.com. So that is how you would go about building something and then making it available online. But whether you buy on GoDaddy or not, the WordPress company will give you a free name anyway. It may not be cool, but it is still something which you can share with your friends.
All
And
right.
since they're not charging you.
Thank you very much, Jay. Bonita Burnett now. Your turn, Bonita. Bonita.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Good morning, Dr. J, and thank you for all your nice information. I have a WordPress account already, and I was wondering if I could still use that for my new academic website, because I had a lot of things on there of positivity, living in a positive life instead of negativity. You know, sometimes people say things or do things and make you feel less than. So if you could put positive in the universe instead of negative. Now,
Right.
since I had all of that already on my website, is there a way, or should I say, can I still incorporate that with my academic website I want to make, or should I try, or can I erase some of those items and rebuild it? Will I get a new name for, will they give me, WordPress would give me a new account, or what do you think?
So then my answer depends, like, how old is it, and when was the last time you were able to use it and stuff like that?
I would say about, let's see here, but 2 or 3 years. I was doing it during my graduate studies.
Okay.
Because I'm a counselor, so I use a lot of positivity in it. So I'm trying to figure out.
And are you able to log into it?
If I can remember.
Yeah, that's my big question here. So now what I would do if I was in your position is, step number one, see if there's a way to recover that website account from WordPress. That would be the priority there. Now, if you can recover, then don't use that anymore, because if it's old, then things would have changed by now. So you should ideally try to maybe just download the stuff you already published, copy paste it into Word, into a Word document or something. So first step, get all your data, because the website is replaceable, but the information you have written is not replaceable, right? Because that's the one which has the real value. So you should first step, cover the account, see if you can get all your data out, and then now, start over with a new WordPress account. And this time, yes, please, keep the login details in a safe place so that the same thing does not happen again. So my recommendation is, let that old one go, just recover the data from somewhere and then start fresh, because a new account would have new features and things like that. It would be much more easy to manage and things like that. That is my recommendation.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. J.
We had Isaac Samba, but it looks like Isaac has stepped away. So we are going to third participant, as we've lost Isaac apparently. Susanna Dawson, we are with you at this time. Susanna.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Susanna. Hi.
Hello. From here, it's good afternoon. I just want to find out, you were talking about what is a WordPress website. Apart from that website, are we not entitled to use any other one that could work for us?
Yes. No, this GoDaddy guy I spoke about. Now, the GoDaddy people also have a similar kind of website building, website builder. So if you're looking for an alternative, then I would strongly recommend that you give it a go with GoDaddy, because one, they have these plans for people. Like if you're willing to spend an extra few dollars, they actually have people who will just build a website for you and update all the security, the certificates. They'll help you purchase a domain name and everything. So they actually do that. So that is probably even cheaper than WordPress.com, because WordPress.com is a software company, whereas GoDaddy is really a hosting company. So they actually offer cheaper rates than WordPress when you think about it. So that is a second option. But a third option is, of course, you could learn Bootstrap yourself, or hire somebody who is a front-end developer, maybe someone in this class who's already looking for some work or something, and then let them build a website with a free theme, so it doesn't cost you much. And then you could buy what is called as hosting space. Now that is something you have to buy from someone. So you buy it from GoDaddy, or you buy it from Azure or Amazon Cloud or something like that, and then let that freelance developer connect everything. So that is option number 3. So you actually have 3 options when you come to website development. WordPress, which is the easiest option. Second, you can directly get everything from GoDaddy also. They do something similar to WordPress. Third option is, yes, you either do the building yourself or get a freelancer to build the website for you, and then buy the domain. That's the key. Without the domain, you can't share your website. So buy the domain from someone like GoDaddy, and then have somebody host it. Now that's a third challenge. So host it again on GoDaddy or Azure Cloud or Amazon Cloud, and obviously you need a developer for all these things. So that's the third option. But yeah, the third option is the more complex one, but you have more control.
Thank you very much again, Jay. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you are late or if you missed any key element in Jay's presentation, the entire class session has been recorded, and the recording will be made available to you very soon. Matter of fact, if you go to your student portal within the next 48 hours or so, going to this section about webinars, where all those recordings have been placed, you can easily locate this presentation by Jay. Personally, even if I am some type of expert in this field, I have learned significantly from this presentation. The content is really very complicated, complex, but it is comprised of all types of details that you might need, either about the HTML, the hypertext markup language, that's the definition of HTML, or CSS, which is cascading style sheets. But you shouldn't worry at all about the definitions or the spelling out of these abbreviations. The most important thing is Jay has showed us exactly how to go about designing a website that is compelling, amusing, interesting, and everything in between. The content, again, is going to be available very, very soon in your student portal. As a matter of fact, you might also receive an email which contains, which will contain a link to Jay's presentation. We are sort of speechless. Jay was about to draw some type of conclusion, but there is another hand up, Frederick.
Okay.
Go ahead, Frederick. Jay is ready for your question, and so we are, as a matter of fact. Go ahead, Frederick.
Thank you. Good evening. From here, it's now evening. But thank you so much, Dr. and Jay. I appreciate the topic, and I appreciate the presentation that has been made through. There's a lot of information that will help us as we go forward. I just wanted to compliment, not a question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, sir.
So much. Thank you so much. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Frederick. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are putting an end to this very interesting, powerful class session from Atlantic International University. I am hoping that you have taken advantage of that presentation. Another feature which I forgot, which I was about to forget to mention, is that occasionally, or even for this Jay's presentation, there is also a link. There will be a link to test that you can eventually take and earn some more credits if you are a current student working towards your degree at AIU. Thank you again very much to each and every one of you. You've made the right decision to join us for this session, and we very highly appreciate that. Let's turn the floor back now to Jay for the concluding remarks. Go ahead, Jay, please.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Thank you. So, guys, there you go. So, as I mentioned, so thank you so much for joining. Thank you for AIU, and thank you for all the questions and everything. Now, of course, there'll probably be way too many questions for this Bootstrap and so on. So we are always limited by time, but I've shared you enough of my contact details. I'm everywhere. I'm on GitHub, on YouTube, Twitter. Just hit me up on any of those channels. Usually I will reply within 24 hours. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but I am busy with some work and stuff. So I will always reach out and reply if anybody tries to contact me. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.